Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Simone here. So today I'm going to be filming the series I need to finish video, and as we all know I'm terrible at finishing series, so I like to start them and then never finish them. So this video could go on for quite some time, but I'm hoping this won't be such a long video, unlike my normal ones, but you know, what are you going to do? So I'm going to talk about 10 book series that I have started and would like to finish at some point soon-ish. Let's go. So the first series I want to talk about is the Summer series, and I believe this is a trilogy by Jenny Han. The first book was The Summer I Turned Pretty. The second book is It's Not Summer Without You, and I've read both of those. I can't remember what the third one's called, but I haven't read it yet, and I do want to complete this series, and it is only one book, and I find them really easy to read. I will say the first book I actually didn't like when I didn't really like it that much. I think I gave it like a 2.5 or a 3 star, because to me I didn't like the message that was sent, but about puberty being when you become pretty. I found that a little bit awkward, but I think the second book was amazing. It was about grief and loss, and it really was a beautiful story, and I'm hoping that the third one kind of goes along in that vein rather than going back to the previous one. So yeah, I'm a big fan and I would like to continue this series. The second one I want to talk about is one that is actually, I've only read the first book in the series. Now I don't know if it's a 3 or 4 part series. I know that there is, I think it's a trilogy, but there's a novella as part of that, and that is the Witchland series. So the first one, the one that I've read, was Truth Witch by Susan Dennard, and Susan Dennard was, I'm not sure if this was her first novel, but either way it's the first time I'd ever heard about her, and when I read Truth Witch I wasn't really expecting too much, but it was absolutely amazing. It was really, really well written. It's a story about 2 girls named Safi and Iseult, I think that's how you say her name, and they have a bit of a special bond where each one of them has a special power. I think Iseult is a thread witch and Safi is a truth witch, and I think there are people after Safi because there aren't many truth witches around, so they're kind of trying to find out where she is and trying to like get her to help them, I think. And Iseult's trying to keep her safe. And like I said, I really loved this this first book, so I can only imagine that the series is going to get better and better, so hopefully it does do that. So next up I have a book that is the next one in a 4-part series. I have read the first 2, the one I have here is the third one, and it's the next one I have to read, and that is Career of Evil by Robert Galbraith, aka J.K. Rowling. This is the 3rd book in the Cormoran Strike series. Now if you don't know too much about this, J.K. Rowling wrote a story which are completely different to the Harry Potter stories. They are like thriller, crime mystery type things. Basically Cormoran Strike is a retired veteran who works as a private detective, and in each one of the books he has to solve this mystery that's going on. In the first book he's trying to figure out if a model actually killed herself by falling off of a balcony, or whether it was an intentional death by somebody else. And the second one is about a novelist who writes a book about the people, his fellow kind of colleagues, and let's just say he goes missing, and it's because a lot of people have motives because he doesn't paint them in a very good light. This one, I think, what is it? A mysterious package is delivered to Robin Ellicott, or I should say Robin Ellicott is his like not personal assistant, but she helps him out with his cases and things like that. But it says, when a mysterious package is delivered to Robin Ellicott, she is horrified to discover that it contains a woman's severed leg. Wow, so that could be interesting. Like I said, this is the 3rd one. I think the 4th one actually came out last week, so hopefully that is one. I think that's called Lethal White, the 4th one, and I would like to read as well because it's one of my favourite series. Yeah, so I really need to get to this one as soon as possible. The next one I want to talk about is one that I didn't actually really enjoy the 2nd book of, but I kind of want to read just to say that I have, and that is the 3rd Lord of the Rings book by J.R.R. Tolkien. Now the first 2 are, let me get this right, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and then the final one is The Return of the King. I've read the first 2. You'll see in my wrap-up that will be coming up at the end of September that I read The Two Towers this month, and I wasn't really a big fan. I just think it goes on for so long, and it's such like the language is just so flowery for no apparent reason. So yeah, I just wasn't a big fan, to be honest. I just really wasn't a big fan, to be honest with you. And talking about fans, if you can hear a computer fan, AJ has like this computer that likes to make lots of noise apparently, and it's currently whirring away over here, and that's why you can hear it. I can't stop that making that noise. Sorry about that. So yeah, I want to finish the series, but more so I can say I finished it rather than for the enjoyment of it, to be honest. So next up I have one of my favourite authors, and that is Debbie Macomber, and the one I have to read next, this is book 2 in the Blossom Street series, is 204 Rosewood Lane. Now each one of her books that are in this series are kind of set in a different house on the street, I think, and it's about how different relationships and the kind of community that they grow up in. I love Debbie Macomber. She has some of the best writing I've ever read, and to be honest with you, I just feel cosy reading her books. She also does the Cedar Cove series, I think, and I love that one too. So I'm a big fan of Debbie Macomber, and like I said, this is the next one I need to read, so hopefully that will happen, I'll say by the end of next year, because let's be honest, probably won't happen this year. Next up I want to talk about the Girl Online series by Zoe Sugg, who is also known as Zoella on YouTube. I'll link her channel below, you all know who she is, but I'll link her anyway. I actually really enjoy this series. I know a lot of people think that there's controversy about ghostwriters and such, but I think that it has a lot of talk about anxiety and depression and panic attacks and things, which I find really, really helpful to me. I read the first one, which was just called Girl Online, probably a couple of years ago, and there are now 2 more. I think I've read the second one, which is this one, Girl Online on Tour. I have read this, but I really want to listen to the audiobook of it because I can't really remember too much about what happened. And I've also now owned the third one because my mum and dad bought me these for my birthday, the 3 of them. And that was Girl Online Going Solo, which is the 3rd and final one. And so yeah, I really want to reread all of them. But this is the next one I'm kind of going to read to recap, to read the next one. Next up we have one that I've been talking about for months and months and months, and I'm finally on to the last book of the series, which is City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare, which is book 6 of 6 of the Mortal Instruments series, which is based in the Shadowhunter world. Now, Cassandra Clare has written a lot of series based in the Shadowhunter world, and I really want to read the other ones, but you have to read this one first, really, otherwise you'll get spoiled. And I didn't really want to do that, so this is, like I said, the last one that I'm going to read of this series. Then I can read the companion books, and then I can read the Infernal Devices series, and then the Dark Artifices series. So yeah, this is kind of the pivotal book for me for this series. But this follows, if you don't know, the Shadowhunter world, which Shadowhunters are basically these people who essentially hunt demons, and it's their like encounters with the demons that these stories are all about. It follows a girl named Clary Frey who finds out that her family are all part of this world, and she tries to figure it out as she goes along. It has werewolves, it has vampires, it's very interesting, and I do like to read it, and there's also kind of a romance in here too, so everybody has something to like about this, I think. So the next series that I want to talk about is the Alex Cross series by James Patterson. Now you all know probably, if you've seen other videos of mine, how much of a big fan I am of James Patterson, and I've read pretty much all of his private series, but the series that I am kind of currently reading, I've read the first 2 books. Again, this is like a 20-book series, but I've read about the first 2 books of it so far, and I own quite a few more, but they're not all in the order, so I need to kind of get the ones in between. I've got one to show you, which this one's called Crosskill, which is one of his Bookshots ones. I don't know which number of book this is in the series, but it's one of them. It's just a demonstrative book to show you what I meant. I don't think that's the right word, but we'll go with it. Yeah, Alex Cross is a detective and also a forensic psychologist, I think. I'm not sure if that's the right word for what he does. Anyway, he works with the police department and the FBI sometimes, and basically he hunts down killers. And so, like I said, I've read the first 2 books and really liked them, so hopefully this is one that I will continue to read over the time, because I do really enjoy it. Up next I have the Lunar Chronicles series, which again, if you watched my August wrap-up, which I'll link below, I read Scarlet, which is the 2nd book in that series. Now, the Lunar Chronicles is kind of a fairy tale retelling type of story, and it basically, each book has a different kind of main story. So the first one was Cinder, which was about Cinderella, and Cinder was actually a cyborg called Cinder, obviously based on Cinderella. Then Scarlet, the one I read next, was a Red Riding Hood kind of retelling, very loose retelling, but it also had the characters from the first one in it. So hopefully, I think the third one is called Cress, which I think has got something to do with Rapunzel, and then the fourth one is Winter, which I think is about Snow White, and I know that there's some other kind of spin-off books to it, so hopefully I will continue on with that series because it's one of my favourites. I didn't like the second one quite as much as the first one because I think I just preferred Cinder as a main character and she wasn't in Scarlet as much, so hopefully the third one I will really like Cress, and I've heard a lot of people say it's their favourite one of the series, so I'm excited for that. And the final book that I want to talk about in this video is part of the Millennium series by Stieg Larsson, and the last one of the series is the only one I have left to read, and that is The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest by Stieg Larsson. This is the third and final book in the trilogy by Stieg Larsson. However, a man named David Lagerkrantz, I think is his name, has written like a spin-off couple of books to the series, so I own one of those, so hopefully I'll read those as well. It follows a journalist named Mikael Blomkvist. I always say it wrong because he's Swedish, I think, and I don't have a grasp on the Swedish language, apparently. But he is a journalist who is investigating in the first book the disappearance of a young girl named Harriet Vanger, who was part of the Vanger family, and he gets hired by her grandfather, or great-grandfather, Henrik, and he tries to find her after, I think it's about 30 years or something of her having been gone. And then, so Mikael teams up with a girl named Lisbeth Salander, who has had a pretty rubbish start to life. She's about in her 20s, I would say, and she has had a lot of things go wrong, but she's incredibly intelligent, and she's also a bit of a hacker. So she helps him with his investigation, and then the books continue on from there. My favourite of the series was the second one so far, but hopefully the third one will even top that because I'm excited to continue on with the series. And those are the 10 series that I want to finish sort of imminently. I'm sure I'll probably make another video about this in the future and talk about some more that I have to finish, because I'll no doubt have started some more of them. So give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I upload every Monday and Friday at 5 PM, so do come back and have a look at those times, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!